Well. Did I take my Ritalin? I think I did. We'll find out soon. Welcome to Gabbin' and Games, fellas. It's nice to see everybody for Wednesday. It's Wednesday, I think. Wednesday, whatever, the 11th. Let's get into a very, very packed show. Well, actually, let me drink this first. Un momento. I know. There is nothing like pink lemonade in the summer. It is so fucking delightful. Welcome to the show, you guys. Tech Protect, can you hear me? He's up in the... Well, how's it going, Tech Protect?
Not too bad. I'm here in space.
I know.
Around.
I like it up there. I might be moving up there. I hear they're flying drones, Predator drones now over Los Angeles at the moment.
Is that true?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the news. Can you believe that? Predator drones flying over American cities. Come on. Well, this is not the political show. That's the morning show. But the point is, what are we doing? Well, I guess we're playing games is what we're doing. Can you check on the sound? Are we coming through well? Is my gain too high? I get the feeling I'm probably a little high.
You sound great on the stream, and I sound... Let's see.
What?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Tech will be watching the chat tonight, sending me the best and the brightest of what you guys have to say and share about what we're saying. Of course, if you want to make sure your post gets seen and respected, well, it'll get respected regardless. But if it gets seen, send us a super chat. We'd love to read it. We'd love to have support of the show. We're going to kick it off with a couple of quick, fun stories at the very, very top, or interesting stories. And then we'll get into the news. We'll talk about what our goals are for tonight. There's some really fun stuff happening. But first, I want to show you this 1-minute clip, which I think this was the senior editor at Kotaku put this up. As you guys know, I have been very interested in playing Mind's Eye. I remain hopeful that it will be like the Fast and the Furious Crossroads, which everybody fucking hated, but I really loved. But I've heard enough bad stuff at this point. Rob the Mod was telling me about some of the stuff. He's like, I'm going to wait for a price drop and a big patch before I even give it a Fast and the Furious Crossroads chance. But this guy is a streamer that was paid to play Mind's Eye. I don't know if you saw this. This dropped this morning. He was paid to promote the game. And here he is trying to tell his audience after he's been playing for a while what they can do to buy it. But it's such a bad experience for him that... well, you know, he can't quite get through it. I wonder if he got paid at the end of the day. Here we go.
This preview ends of Mind's Eye. Just like to remind you guys that
oh, yeah. Thank God.
This game was sponsored by... If you want to check out Mind's Eye now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, Epic Game Store, and Steam, feel free. And type !_ spawn in chat and give you a link.
It really is great because it's like... I imagine after having played this fucking, because man in the chat says get that bag. After having played this for as long as he did,
sure that this game is going to
I mean, how can you even continue? Which he clearly can't. So this one guy in the chat says you're a phenomenal salesman, truly. Oh my God! Now I kind of want to play it, but anyway, there's all you need to know. I mean, listen, how does a game get to this point? And this is not coming from a publisher that's like a shit publisher. This is coming from IO. Now, IO is a small publisher in the grand scheme of things, so maybe they just didn't have the money as much as they knew it needed at least 4-6 more months in the oven. They just couldn't afford to do it. I have no clue, but there's no way in God's green fucking earth that this team thought this game was ready to go out. At which point, maybe they're just going... Hopefully we can cyberpunk it. Hopefully the studio, the publisher believes in this game enough that they're going to give them 6 months of runway, and maybe in 6 months it will become what they want. This was always supposed to be part of a bigger package, which is that game where you can build your own games within it. And this was sort of the anchor game that was to show everybody what that could look like if you really put your best foot forward. They clearly bit off way more than they could chew. It's weird because when you also have some of these executives, maybe the executives, by the way, if you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, 2 key top executives left this company that makes Mind's Eye. And at the time it was like, clearly it wasn't a good sign, but what's going on? Maybe they were just like, look, we don't want to be here because we know this game needs 6 months. You guys wouldn't give it to us. And this is kind of where we ended up. And we at least want to leave in protest. So when we're trying to get new jobs, we can say, look, we knew it was shit. We tried to tell them it was shit. We needed more time. I have no idea, but that streamer was delightful. Also, as the Summer Game Fest season starts to wrap up, there was an article on PC Gamer this morning that I thought was really good about the no-shows, and it was actually missing one. They had 9 big games that were absent from the 2025 showcase. All of them put together. And I'll tell you the ones they listed, but then I'll tell you the one that I'm actually most curious about that no one listed. Obviously, Fable. You would think by now we would have fucking seen something from Fable, especially it's been over a year since Booty was on stage talking and saying to whoever was interviewing him, I've seen it. It's beautiful. We want to show it, but the team says it's not ready. Now, again, maybe if maybe he has a point, and if that team would have worked with Microsoft, who made Mind's Eye, maybe they wouldn't be in the position they're in. But there is a point where it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys, put the goddamn game out. Perfect Dark, it's a little weird. I could see them saving that, though, for, a December showcase or a November showcase, because they've got it's not like they're lacking big titles, but it was a little weird we didn't get to see that. Everwild, I don't know, Rare's RPG or something. Blade wasn't there. Kingdom Hearts 4. Marathon was a real shocker not being there, although it's probably clear this thing is being pulled back into the garage and worked on for another 6 months. And so why even, people have talked about, the rumor is that the marketing has been, the spigot has been turned off to market and PR this thing. And these guys got to go into, triage mode on this thing. That's probably what happened there. Splinter Cell remake, I don't even know if that's officially been confirmed. Beyond Good and Evil 2 apparently is still in production. Hollow Knight Silksong clearly is coming out the same day that the Rogue Ally comes out. Rogue Ally, whatever. But they didn't give us a date and they didn't give us a trailer. Did you read some of the shit that was happening at Square? So who are the guys at Square? Like 2 or 3 executives. Not Square. What are they called? Ubisoft. Ubisoft court case testimony. Listen to this. There were 2 or 3 Ubisoft developers told a French court that former exec Sergei Hascott, Tommy Francois, and Guillemot Patru allegedly perpetuated a systemic culture of sexism. Here's just some of the examples of what ended up happening. 5 former execs from Ubisoft were arrested following a year-long investigation into sex assault and harassment. All 3 defendants deny the charge. So these guys, I guess, are, I don't know what it looks like if they lose this case. But listen to this. In 4 days of hearings, female former staff members variously described being tied to a chair, forced to do handstands, subjected to constant comments about sex and their bodies, having to endure sexist and homophobic jokes, drawings of penises being stuck to computers, a manager who farted in workers' faces or scribbled on women with marker pens, gave unsolicited shoulder massages, played pornographic films in the open plan office, and another executive who crapped sounds, par for the course of these guys, but it wasn't crapped. It was an executive who cracked a whip near people's heads. What? What's
how else? How else do you be creative, Jaffe?
I gotta tell you, what's the matter with these fucking people? I mean, look, my life at Sony when I first started there, and for 5 years, that was pretty common. It wasn't common that we, tied women to chairs and had them doing handstands, but there were lots of jokes and sexual jokes. And, one guy, great level designer, was constantly going to people's desks and rearranging all their geeky action figures into like orgies and stuff on their desk and everything. I mean, it was just the culture. But this is not 1995, 94, 96. This is the summer this is like 2015 to 2020. So I don't know, but I'm glad they're kind of getting their just desserts. But I swear to fucking God, how do you preside? I mean, think about being who's the guy? Yves Guillemot and this family company that runs this fucking thing. How do you not step down in shame to know? Kind of like with Bobby Kotick when he was running Activision. It's like, yeah, you're making a lot of money, but how do you not just hang your head in shame and go, this happened under my watch. I'm probably not worthy of this. I don't know, but here's what we are worthy of. I'll tell you this goddamn right now. Tomorrow morning, Konami's press start showcase for Metal Gear Solid Delta and Silent Hill news. There may be more information or more games covered. There may be demo drops. There may be date drops. I don't know. No one really knows, but this is tomorrow starting California time. Will I be up watching it? Yes. Will I be up watching it and streaming it with you? That all depends. That is one of our goals tonight. 40 members. All we need is 40 new members. And I will be up at the crack of goddamn dawn, 6 a.m., the Konami stream plus member post chat, meaning we'll watch it together on YouTube, and then anybody who wants can pour into the Discord. We'll keep streaming that on YouTube, and we'll talk about what we saw. Or if a demo drops, we'll play it right there on air. That's 40 members we need tonight before the show wraps up. The other thing tonight is $100 in super chats, collectively, of course. We'll do 60 minutes of Discord gaming. Now, if you're not that familiar with Discord gaming, it's gotten a lot better. It's basically, instead of going in and playing real complicated games and shit, you can play this wherever your Discord is. Easy to go, casual games, but fun party games. I'm sure you play these with your friends. We'll be playing these with people in the Discord server tonight for 60 minutes, and then every $50 additional 30 minutes. There's like 50 new games on there now, and we will be playing this evening if we make our super chat goal. So there's a $100 super chat goal, and there's 40 members for the Konami stream tomorrow, kicked off by our good friend Awesome Tatum, who is just dedicated, what are you talking about? Who has just dropped a gift membership. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate that generosity very, very much. Tonight on the show, we are going to be talking about, there is one other thing happening tomorrow. I'll be covering it on Gabbin' and Games, the next Gabbin' and Games. I won't be streaming this. I don't even know if you can stream it, but Sony's business segment, which the video game segment is going to be led by Herman Holst, talking about how they've done this quarter and this year. This is happening at tomorrow at 11 o'clock at night. So, I mean, we may stream it. I don't know, but it won't be part of the main Gabbin' and Games. But if you're into that stuff, and I am very curious how they're doing, especially with the Concord debacle, Marathon being pulled, Wolverine nowhere in sight, I'm very curious how they paint their landscape as it relates to the business segment of their games. Now, tonight's show, though, is going to be focusing on, we're talking a little bit about Switch. We're going to be talking about more play impressions that people have gotten at Summer Games Fest, the new Dark Pictures Anthology game. People have gone hands-on with Resident Evil 9. Sounds okay. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about just about Pragmata. We actually know more what Pragmata is. That's exciting. Oh, I forgot to tell you, though. Where did I put it? Did we already do that one? Ubisoft. Did we already talk about the games tech that they didn't show at Summer Games? Where did that go? I must have deleted it. Anyway, the point is, here's the one that I'm missing. Here's the one that I was really looking forward to and hopeful for is goddamn Amy Hennig's game. I know it was delayed to 2025. I am so interested in that game, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. I don't want to bore you with it, but it's Marvel 1943. It is the Captain America Black Panther game. It is big budget. It is Marvel. It is Amy. And it has been delayed, but I guess that's still set up. I continue to be very interested in this game because it really does feel like what we're looking at, and based on what Amy has said, is not a traditional action game, but it's more of a big budget, faster paced kind of Dark Pictures anthology, Telltale game. Bandersnatch. It's a game that you can sit around with your friends and family who are not gamers, and everybody can get lost in a big IP Marvel, quote, playable movie. I think that's what this is. I do not think, especially if you look at the people working on the game, it doesn't, I mean, the way it's presented so far, it looks like it's like, oh, this must be the next big Naughty Dog kind of game. That cannot be this. The team isn't big enough. The people on the team don't have that level of, or at least most of them have that kind of pedigree. I think this is more of a Dark Pictures game, and I actually hope it is, because I think if anything, that's going to grow the market and get more people excited about interactivity. What do you think, Tech? I know you game a lot, but if this game came out, and I don't know, how do you feel about Marvel? You like superheroes, right?
I'm a big Marvel guy.
Okay.
I was very into like the Bronze Age of comics with like the X-Men. X-Men's my favorite series of all time. Now, in terms of this game, I'm excited for this game. I do like when superhero games are more linear.
Yeah.
I've not been a fan of seeing how they take superheroes and put it into like an open world space. Because it leads to like weird balancing with like how characters can engage with the environment. It's hard for a developer to like make that vision work. But when you have like a story-based linear Marvel's game, it's like, yeah, I can see these characters playing these almost movie scenes out live on my.
But what? Okay, but what if this game though is not? You take direct control of Captain America, and you've got 50 moves, and he learns how to ricochet the shield. It's more like, it's a lot of mini games. It's a lot of, do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? It's a much simpler thing to play that you play with your friends and you play with your family. And it's much more of a casual gaming experience, even though the story obviously is more of a AAA kind of action adventure.
I might prefer if it was a more simplified choose your own adventure type of game where like your decisions, greatly affect the outcome of what the ending of the game is. I would enjoy that if the game came in the price point at like $49
right,
or $40, and it's like just like a simple Telltale game. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Do me a favor. I think I already know the answer to this, but go ahead and put the question in the chat. I think there's no way the audience is going to want that which you want and I want when it comes to this. But my guess is I would love to see a poll that says, are they more interested in getting this game as a traditional action adventure, or are they looking for something that is more like a cinematic game? Stone Patrol says Rise of Hydra is not a Bandersnatch game. There are 4 different playable characters that play differently. Yeah, but there's lots of playable characters in Dark Pictures Anthology as well. That doesn't negate the fact that the game could still be very simple and very Telltale. Morgan says, what is a cinematic game? Low gameplay? Yeah, exactly. It's basically, instead of mastering a set of moves for Captain America, it's walking Captain America, doing a somewhat simple stealth mission, again, you have to see how I can tell you how I would do it. I don't know how Amy's going to do it, but I do think the world does not need another fucking action Marvel, superhero game, but the world does need a game in this universe that allows everybody to play it together and have a totally different experience of what a video game could be. But and PK says Wolverine is already action adventure, so it doesn't matter if it's different. Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. Jaffe, how much do we need to pay you to watch the new Superman trailer? I already watched it on this morning's show, and I fucking loved it. I think it looks fucking awesome. I'm very excited for it. Superman's my favorite superhero, so I'm totally in. Okay, I don't know how to feel about this. Switch 2 sold 3.5 million units in just 4 days. Nintendo put out a press release. I guess we should say, yay, that's exciting. But the problem with it is we don't really understand what's happening here. They haven't. I've tried to find this data all day. I couldn't. Is this sell into retail or is this sell through? The fact that no one is calling it sell through, which means the audience purchased it and took it home, and we have seen Switches sitting on shelves. Not like no one's buying it. Clearly, lots of people are buying it, but 3.5 million, which is a record. It took PlayStation 5, I think, a month to do something close to that. The Switch 2 did 2.5 in a month. it's hard to know actually how big of a moment this is for the console and how record-breaking it really is. It's also important to note that when the Switch came out and the PS5 came out and the Xbox Series X and S came out, they were sitting at the height or the beginnings of the height of COVID, and in that there were a lot of also supply limits that we couldn't get. So it's kind of apples to oranges, and it also may not actually be real. That's not to piss on the Switch. I don't have one. I'm sure I'll get one eventually. People who have one seem happy with it. Although having now seen the Xbox ROG Ally or whatever, I can't imagine I would buy this before I buy that. But I might because this I can at least play certain games that I can't play on my PC. So we'll have to see. I looked into it. It does look like it is associating to all sales, including commercial. So like, storefronts buying the Switch and all that. It's not sale through. Okay, it's sell in, right? Which again is not anything to sneeze at, but it is kind of a it is kind of a thing where we don't really know what the tea leaves are saying yet about the immediate desire for this, and also it's a launch product, so this shit's going to sell out almost immediately. Cowboys Nation says if you're over the age of 10, you shouldn't be buying a Switch. I mean, okay, that's ridiculous. I know what you're saying. I would say if you are, unless you're a hardcore Nintendo fan, I agree with you that it's probably, and you want something that's portable and dockable, I think you would probably be better off buying the ROG Ally. Am I saying it right? ROG.
It's ROG.
Okay.
Do you know what ROG stands for?
Go fuck yourself. I think it stands for, because it's a terrible
Republic
name.
of Gamers.
All right, well, they can go fuck off. See, now that is a bad take, says Ravnos. What's a bad take? Eric says, Jaffe, do you see this maintaining sales over time? I think that depends on the games that come out. I think that Mario Kart World, people love it. It'll continue to sell. It'll be evergreen probably. But I think it's got nothing else they've shown really, unless you're like, I mean, let's put it this way. Most people who walk in know what Mario Kart is. Most people do not know what the fuck Banana, Baganga, Bazana, whatever the fuck it is. PK says you're going to spend $1,000 on a ROG Ally. I'm not immediately going to spend that because I don't go outside. But if I was a guy who flew around like I used to and got in planes and went to an office and was bored sometimes waiting for a meeting or something, I would absolutely do that. Absolutely. I agree that most people know who Donkey Kong is, Darth Nugget, but I don't think most people that are sitting around going, oh my God, I can't wait for a new Donkey Kong game. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Do you guys, let's put that poll up. I was right that you guys want the Captain America Amy Hennig game to be an action game, not a Telltale game or a Dark Pictures Anthology game. How about this one? Which is, do you think, the Switch 2 is on track, or do you think the Switch 2, based on this opening weekend, is going to be as big as the Switch? I would be curious. But no, I don't think so. I never felt that this was going to be as big, and I still don't, even though 3.5. But Tex just confirmed it that 3.5 is sell in, not sell through. So
yeah, it's sell in. I do want to say I think the biggest issue with the launch of Switch 2 was the start titles that it came with. If you wanted to get the market of the gamers that were playing games for game's sake, right, you would want to have a better library to like start off with. Because right now it is Mario Kart World, and then it's all the
upgrades,
it's all the fucking upgrades. Yeah, the upgrades. And then I think you have they're really driving this Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour game. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like what they had with like the Wii when the Wii first came out, and it's like a game that shows you the
of course, where you have to spend $10 to buy it.
Yeah, and it's like, this is how your system works. This is what the hardware can do. Haha! Now you gave us extra money for you to learn.
Yeah, I mean I think everybody's always thought that was stupid. I'm trying to see if you can buy a Switch 2 right now, so I could buy.
I checked today locally in Vegas. There's a Best Buy here that has 37 in stock.
Yeah. So, which again, what that mostly reflects is probably Nintendo not dealing with the shortage, getting ahead of it like they couldn't during COVID, and I think that's a great thing. Darth Nugget says it sounds false. What sounds false? Ravno says, Jaffe, they rushed to market to try and avoid tariffs. Makes no sense to have released in June when Donkey Kong is in July. Okay. I mean, yeah, again, it's not like it's a failure of a launch. It's successful. I'm just wondering, it sounds like it's 50-50. It's 52% don't expect it to be as big, 50 do. All right, well, we'll see what happens. But there's the news as it relates to the sales. So, but it's really not on my radar at all. There's too much to play, including this game right here, Gears of War Reloaded multiplayer beta. Here's how you can get in. It'll be on the Xbox Series XS, Xbox PC, Windows PC, Cloud Gaming, Xbox, PS5, Steam, and GeForce Now. It is not restricted to platforms. It will be cross-play. It'll be 2 weekends in a row, starting, I think, this weekend. Friday, 7 p.m., noon California time to Sunday. And the next weekend, it'll also be the same time. All you have to do to access the beta, it says access to the multiplayer beta is automatic and available to pre-install now. There are no codes. There's no early access to the beta. You have to do one of the three things. You either have to have pre-ordered it, have an active Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass membership, or own a digital copy of Gears of War Ultimate Edition. I have checked one of those boxes, and I will absolutely be playing this on stream Friday of next week. I am curious. I am excited because Gears of War Reloaded is basically Gears of War 1 HD remaster, whatever, and the multiplayer is there as well, correct? It's not it's not going to be 2 and 3. It's just the first game, I believe. But I played the first game a year ago, and I loved it as much as I did when I first played it, and I will be playing it again. It is so fucking good. It holds up so beautifully. But I was never a Gears multiplayer guy, so I will be playing this almost as a newbie coming in to the experience. I'm looking forward to it. But if you're interested, sign up. We'll play online together. If you're a member, that is coming up in Friday the 13th. It's coming up in 2 days. So there you go. Speaking of being a member, let me add this to our thing here. We are currently only one member in. We've got 39 members more if you guys want to wake up together and watch the Konami stream. And if you also are interested in Discord gaming with us tonight, it'll cost all of us collectively. It's a big socialist experiment, $100 in super chat. So start getting your goddamn wallets out and let's fucking spend some money. Okay. Just know, Jaffe, the multiplayer is a shotgun fest and bouncing off the walls fest. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, I love the single player, and that's more than enough for me. I'm excited to play. Okay. Resident, no, let me tell you something about this fucking thing. People got about 15, 20, 30 minutes hands-on with Resident Evil 9 today, or yesterday, and the reports went up today. Look, I have absolutely zero doubt this is going to be a great game, but what does tend to be the takeaway for most people is when Keighley stood up there on Summer Games Fest stage last week, and when the director stood up there, the producer, there was a sense that we were looking at a reinvention of the franchise. Some people had predicted open world. Some people had talked about maybe a different, not like Dead Space limb systems, but something that really pushes the gameplay. Everyone who's played it, and I've looked at 4 or 5 of these, I focus mostly on GameStop and IGN. They were all like, it's Resident Evil. There's a character who chases you around like Mr. X. The one thing that they said might be interesting, GameSpot had a better write-up than IGN on this, where they said they may be playing with light more than they ever have. Like the character can actually go into a room, turn on and off lamps and lights, and characters can't go places that are dark. At least this character can't. And, I'm playing a game right now, like I'm playing Tormented Souls, the demo, and it has that mechanic and it's cool. But I do recall that you can't turn on lamps and stuff, but you have to have lights. And if you don't have lights, you'll die in certain parts of the map. But, I think that could be interesting. And I get it. You're only letting people play a very small slice of it. But at the same time, one of these reporters was asking, and I think it's a valid question. So you're unveiling the game. And that's fine just to let people know it's there. Then don't say anything. But if you're unveiling the game and you're saying this is a bold new direction for Resident Evil, and then when you let people play it and or see it, and it just looks like same as it ever was, again, this is not a negative thing. I'll be there early access. I love Resident Evil. Resident Evil is pizza. Even average pizza is still pizza. Average Resident Evil is still Resident Evil. I have no problems if it comes out and it's simply more of what we loved from Village and more of what we loved from Bio 7. But, you know, it is a little weird to hear that the hands-on, unless anybody in the chat, if you guys have seen hands-on from places where they've explained things in a way that's like, dude, it sounds really cool. You're missing the point. But everyone, so Jarvie says, everyone I've seen loved what they saw. Okay, well, show me where that is, because I'll show you the post that I was looking at. With Resident Evil, the only thing that most people were talking about today is first person and third person. That's all I'm fucking hearing. It's like, oh, and you can change it by going to the pause menu, which I guess is fine, whatever. But the balance between horror and action shifts between the perspective. My main takeaway is Resident Evil Requiem was exciting to play in either mode and looks to continue Capcom's strong stream of game releases, which is not, again, no one's saying that's bad. They're just saying it's like, okay, it's Resident Evil. And then these guys were a little more critical. It says, as a gameplay reveal, this brief hands-on left me neither surprised nor underwhelmed, but rather unfazed. There wasn't enough there for me to have a clear idea of the bold new direction it's claimed to be heading. Having played it for 20 to 25 minutes, there's still no telling what Capcom has planned for the next installment. So, again, it's not a negative take on it. It's just people kind of saying, what? It's just okay. It's cool. It's Resident Evil. It's what you love. Morgan says, what I've heard of this game makes it sound like there's no action in the game, like you're running away throwing bottles the whole time. I don't think, I mean, that's the beginning, and she doesn't have any weapons yet, and clearly that's not going to be the majority of what the game is. Brian says, yeah, but what more after 15 Resident Evil games can there be a reinvention? There's a lot of things they could do. Certainly going semi-open world could be cool. And go ahead.
I want to make a comment about this because I had a take about the Sonic driving game. Like, what is the actual need to reinvent? When it's like a gameplay loop type of game, I'm not a huge fan because there's not really much story you can implement into like a racing game. When it comes to like Resident Evil, telling a new story is like the reinvention itself, right? The new experience, the new interactions with like the lore of the universe, the world is probably enough for me to say it's worth getting a new story. Right. I think in the Discord, we had a conversation where someone said, is this worth a movie ticket? Right. Would I pay 2 or 3 movie tickets worth to get this story? And possibly, yeah. Like, for Resident Evil, I'd pay 3 movie tickets for it.
Only because it's Resident Evil. But if you're just talking about the story that they showed, which was, oh, look, a young female FBI agent is given this assignment to deal with this crazy shit. Hell, I just saw, I think we watched it together on our, what was the movie we watched? For Pot and Popcorn, didn't we watch a movie about the agent and her mom ended up being the killer, and she was in a cult, and there was the guy. What was this fucking movie? We watched this together. The whole chat did. What the fuck was it? It wasn't. We
saw Inception, and we saw
As Below, Underneath. It wasn't that.
No.
Did I watch
chat?
This?
Help us out, chat, because I don't think I remember a movie about a mom being the
Long Legs. Oh, I watched that with Calvin is what it was. Yeah, that was no. I didn't watch it on that's what it was. Yeah, Dogma. That's right. Okay, yeah, but again, I agree with you on Resident Evil. I'm curious about the story. I like the world. I like what it's about. I'm just saying that the gameplay has been met with most people going, oh, okay, you know, which is
this might be a bad take, maybe, but like God of War, you know, it's not like it's a repetitive game system. It is action from piece to piece, to the puzzle, to the story, to the new lore, right? I would play another God of War. I did play a little bit of Ragnarok, which I know you're not going to be happy with your games yet.
I don't care if you play my games, but I thought Ragnarok was boring.
It was my first experience of God of War ever, and I found myself fighting enemies to unlock a new puzzle to try and like think, how do I get to the next step? And that felt nice. And the story was really more important than the actual gameplay for me. And maybe I'm not the normal.
No,
user of
I
the
think
game.
I think there are. And again, I don't think anyone's coming to Resident Evil 9 going, I need the next. All right, baby, be safe. The next big Kojima shift. I mean, he's not really. I get that. You don't want to go too far afoul of what it is, but you still want to be excited by it. And nothing they've written has made me go, oh my god, it's amazing. Which again, I can't. You got to be. I'm not going to be careful. There you go. That's my take on it. I haven't played it. I'm excited to play it. I'll get it day one. I'll get it early access. I was a little surprised that the press wasn't more like, wow, this fucking thing is so fucking cool. That's too bad for me. I'd like to have more excitement.
Would you just for the final Resident Evil take? Are you more excited for the new Resident Evil or the new Silent Hill?
Oh God, the new Silent Hill F. Much more excited for that.
Going.
And again, you could say, well, Jaffe, what's the big gameplay change there? And you're right. There's not a huge big gameplay change there, but what they've shown, it's not even the story for me. It's, I'm sure that'll be good, but it is the enemy design looks cool. The sense of mood and tone looks like I want to spend time in that very creepy, disturbing world. If you go back, all that comes through in the trailer. But if you go back and you look at the Resident Evil trailer, it's fine, but it looks very, we've seen this and played this and done this 1,000 times. Whereas F is like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening in F, right? That's why to me it's a lot more interesting right now. But who the fuck knows? It could be a piece of shit.
Last take. I think the demo you played the other day on the end of the stream, we met the goal. By the way, if you can meet the goal today, $100 super chats. We will be playing some games in the Discord with some friends. You can come and hop in.
Yep.
The demo you played for the Resident Evil like game, I felt was
which
interesting.
one?
The one where you couldn't remember the hammer breaks the fucking lock on the door.
Oh, Tormented Souls 2. Yeah.
I'm more interested in seeing the completion of that story than I am for the new Resident Evil, personally.
Based on what they've shown. Yeah, and again, it's like, and I can see it now, people will be, okay, I'm going to check this out real quick. Necro says Easy Allies was super positive. Let me go check out what they said. But yeah, I would say that if you're going to, put out anything, you owe it to the audience to make them go, wow. And I think no matter how big of a franchise you are. Alex, I'm not going to read that comment because it's just... Okay, Alex says, Jaffe, why are you judging the game based on a quick glance of the game? Because that's why... If they didn't want people to judge it, Alex, they wouldn't put it out. That's like saying, why are you judging a movie based on the trailer? Because that's why they put the trailer out, so we would judge it and decide if we're interested. You're just pissed because maybe you're excited and I'm not. I'm not excited, but I'm not jumping through fucking hoops. Aren't I assuming too much though, Jaffe? What am I assuming?
I was gonna say marketing is a big factor for the hype of a game and how it actually hits the fucking players. That game that we were just talking about, I always forget the title. It's getting shit reviews. It was made by one of the developers of Grand Theft Auto.
Mind's Eye.
Mind's Eye had so little marketing. It was not promoted almost at all. Which personally, now this is a tech take, so grain of salt because I'm not as skilled as Jaffe. I think it was on purpose because the game sucks.
Well, yeah, that's always on purpose. They were holding it back because they knew it was going to be a shit show. I mean, of course. Jarvie says Yang Ye talked about the creature that chases you and that it was just more puzzles and no combat. The other playable character confirmed will be the gun one. Right. 100%. And I never believed that it was going to be anything other than that. I never believed it was just going to become super stealth. And only that. You should talk about Ill. We've watched Ill throughout the last year and a half, and it looks great. There's not much to say, though. I haven't seen anybody go hands-on with it. But let's watch just a few minutes of Easy Allies then, Well, this isn't their hands-on. This is the reveal. We want to see their... right? You said they were really excited.
I'm also going to do a poll for excitement towards Resident Evil. I think we should know. Find out.
Easy Allies. Where was this, Necro?
Just go to their main channel. Just click on their page. And we probably can see a video there.
All right. Resident Evil Onimusha Pragmata. Okay, gotcha. All right, let's go. I just want to see a few minutes of that. It's 40 minutes, but we'll jump to it. Yeah, I'm not watching that whole fucking thing. Let's go to this.
I was born on. That is the absolute origin of
the way
this
they can do it?
entire franchise. I'm begging you to show us a little bit of respect here. Give us a
Wow,
little bit.
okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
This
just give
is
us
the
a
greatest
little
fan
nod.
service they've
Just a
ever
little-
done. What are you talking
Just a
about?
little bit.
It's the last
No, you know what they do?
Just one part.
Well, you just have a section. They could have a section where you go into a place and someone else is like monitoring you. And
One time. The end of the saga and the beginning of a new saga. So what?
all for this section.
Some
so,
people were talking.
or whatever. I mean, it
Yeah.
looked pretty formidable, but she didn't have any weapons at
Yeah.
all for this section.
Some
so
All right, here we
people
go.
were-
Here we go. Right now.
first, third, fifth.
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm curious if Fish Baby is like a pursuer or if it's just an enemy in this area or whatever. I mean, it
Yeah.
looked pretty formidable, but she didn't have any weapons at
Yeah.
all for this section.
Some
so.
people were talking about Lisa Trevor, and it's like, I mean, it's
Her proportions are kind of like
Yeah.
Lisa Trevor,
It's a
but she didn't
similar
really
vibe, but no.
look like.
No.
I mean, her face. I don't know.
yeah, nah. I
It
don't
could be.
think
It could be a grown-up Lisa Trevor or a Lisa Trevor like offspring.
Like,
or
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing because I've said this before, but I do assume. Like, what are the effects of nuclear radiation, nuclear bomb fallout on,
G virus outbreak.
These freakos.
G-virus yeah, exactly.
like, yeah. And does the T virus and G virus react to radiation in different
Okay,
ways?
but what's
like,
where's the
that could be
positivity?
cool.
That is cool.
Like,
Yep.
this game is gonna be so tight.
Yeah.
February 27th.
That is
can't
close.
come soon enough.
That's close.
Just after my birthday, baby.
Yeah, right before my mom.
Because it was
like,
kind of
lower it.
weird.
Yeah, it was pretty loud.
That at first I thought was an enemy.
Uh-huh.
That I thought.
I'll look at it later, but Necro says it was really, really positive. I'm reading the chat. Sorry. All right. Anyway, Resident Evil. We'll see where it goes. The chat is 69% excited. Well, of course, it's all opinion based. Yeah. What else would there be? Okay. The other thing I'll say, though, is, well, let's get to some Sony news real quick. I love Resident Evil 2, Brian. I'm a huge fan. It's one of my top 5 franchises. I adore it. I'm not knocking it, but I can also, it is, it's a thing with gamers, I guess. You really, it's really difficult. And I think it's because a lot of gamers are stunted, frankly, because it's really difficult. Like, this is something I used to do in middle school. But it seems really difficult for gamers to be able to just sort of go, I like it. I don't, you don't. Cool. Or you don't like it. I do. Or whatever. It's like, it's really goofy to me. That, no one's played it. No one's shitting on your shit. Just relax. We're just, yeah. Awesome Tatum says, even if it's a bad, quote, bad Resident Evil, I'm playing it. Me as well. By the way, somebody was asking, why does Wings of Redemption's chat keep getting deleted? That's something they're doing. I don't know if that's the actual. Yeah, they keep typing and retracting. I have no idea. Morgan says the perspective toggle is cool and all, but I'd like to see combat. I don't really even understand. I don't have a problem with having a perspective shift if they want to do it and the team can handle it in terms of sort of, making it play great from both. But for me personally, I don't notice a difference. If I know some people do, and I respect that, and I totally believe it when they say that. But to me, a game doesn't feel any more or less immersive if I'm looking through the character's eyes or I'm watching the character run around from over the shoulder. All of those things feel like just extensions of me. But I know some people really feel more immersed in the game that it is POV, and they feel like that really immerses them more, which is cool. Kevin Mack says, I've come here for you to validate my opinions. Oh my God, I would be so successful streaming if I did that. If I know what people want to hear, but I won't do it. And you shouldn't want people to do it. Grow the fuck up. Okay. Jaffe, would you choose God of War over Resident Evil anytime, any day? No, I would not. I like Resident Evil more than most God of War games. Jaffe, aren't you sort of surprised that Starfield didn't have a trailer for the next DLC? Todd said it would be at this holiday. No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I didn't finish the last one. I love Starfield, but I'm not.
Yeah. How many projects is that company working on right now?
It's a huge company, though. It's not like Naughty Dog where it's 2 teams. I mean, it's a massive group of developers.
Do we know how many teams they have? Because I thought it was 7 teams. Am I wrong? Chat, do you know?
I don't know. I have no idea. Morgan says, Jaffe, you should say you hate everyone equally. You will get 5,000 subs in 2 seconds. No, we won't get shit. We are reaching out. The last DLC was I didn't hate the Starfield DLC. In fact, I liked the beginning of it. And then I just, it's we're going to talk about this in a minute, but not Starfield, but the idea of game, there's just so much out there and there's so many things pulling you around for your attention that it's got to be fucking banger right out the gate these days, which I think is good because it means people have to work harder to entertain you and earn your money. But anyway, here's the point. We have one member tonight, which we appreciate. Awesome Tatum. Let's go, motherfuckers. I'm not going to DSP if you don't want to support the show, or if you can't support the show with your wallet. I appreciate that. Not everybody can at all times, and you don't owe us anything. But if you like the show and you want some of the goodies hidden behind the paywall, playing games with us afterwards in the Discord, or getting up early with me and watching the Konami stream and then going into the Discord and having a post conversation, maybe even playing a demo if they drop it. I hope they drop a fucking demo tomorrow. The goddamn Metal Gear is out, in July? And Silent Hill is out in September? Give us a goddamn fucking demo. Anyway, the point is, sponsor the show if you want to and if you can. Okay. Darth Nugget says, this isn't the Madhouse audience, Jaffe. We aren't marks. Do you have to be a mark to pay for something you appreciate? I don't understand. I'm okay if you don't want to pay, but that doesn't mean that you're a mark. It means that you're like, oh, I'd like to see this show continue. So I want to make sure that we can fund it if they need it. Jaffe, play Baby Steps. I have the demo downloaded. I was going to play more. I'm not talking about you, Darth Nugget. If that's all, not all, like it's a bad thing, but if that's what you pay and you feel that you support at that level, we love that. I appreciate it. Baby Steps. So there's so many great Steam NextFest demos, but that one is one I have downloaded. That is one that I'm excited about. Listen to this, though. This is not good news. You wake up, you go into work at Sony First Party Bin Studios. 40 people got laid off this week, apparently because they shut down the Siphon Filter game, which was the Siphon Filter multiplayer games, the service game. And in that, the quote is, as the team shift focus to the next project, we've made strategic changes
Corporate
to better...
Game Designer has just donated $5.
Well, thank you,
to
buddy.
Super Chat.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, pal.
He says, somebody got to be in the trenches fighting the loser on YouTube. You goddamn right. Thank you so much, Corporate Game Designer. We appreciate it. And Alex, my good friend, Father Alex. Used to be Father Alex. You're not going to seminary anymore? Alex has also sent a gift membership. I'll update that in just a second. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Corporate Game Designer. But yeah, it's interesting because the idea here that I am hearing about is that, like, nobody was asking for I mean, God, this just goes back to the clusterfuck that was Jim Ryan and, honestly, in my opinion, Herman Holst running this show. No one was asking for a fucking Siphon Filter free-to-play game. They just fucking weren't. And I have always been supportive of the fact that Sony needs to be spending money on service games because there is golden in their hills and there's no reason they shouldn't be getting a big fucking share of it. But I've been at Sony and not much has changed apparently, where the magic words to say to the executives to get your green light. As much as people say, well, you know what, Jaffe, Drawn to Death would have been better as a single player game. And I'm like, I know. And I remember going in to Sony after they had agreed to make it with us before we had started production. And I remember saying to them, hey man, I would love to make the single player first. And they said, well, no, we're doing this initiative for free to play. So it's got to be multiplayer. You do what you do to get the green light. And then you just kind of fucking hope you can make something worthy of actually making it to market. But I get it. I mean, I don't agree with you that no one wanted a siphon filter, Eric. I don't think siphon filter sits up there with Metal Gear, or for most people, it's a forgotten thing. But I think there is the idea of Sony, although Kojima may be making it now, but if Sony had their own really cool AAA spy James Bond kind of action hero, I think that would be a wonderful market that is, especially with the lack of Sam Fisher these days, is something that they could really go in there and become one of the big players in that space. Awesome says, I know I'm having second thoughts on that narrative that Sony should have been doing games as a service to get the Fortnite. Even back pre-COVID, that space was taken. But there's always room for the next big thing. We see it all the time. And frankly, the money that you make, the money that you make when that works it's too much for these executives to turn away from attempting. Corporate Game Designer says, from my experience and conversations, neither Sony or Ubisoft have a good rep for having a good system for greenlighting funding for games. Their single player games used to, but most of their great creative executives have been gutted. So I would agree with you at this point. PK says, is Marathon going to be good, or is the next Concord? I think Marathon and Fair Play, if that's what it's called, are probably in a position where they have to make a decision, or Sony or Herman has to make a decision. Does either one of these have a chance in hell? If we spend another year, could this actually be something great? Marathon is DOA now, but that doesn't mean it's dead in the water forever. If they pull it back in and they say, we're going back into the garage for a year, we'll get back to you guys in 8 months and show you something new. You never know. We'll see where it goes.
Have you been big in that game space with the like looter shooter,
No.
Royale? I have, and I've seen a lot of people that, like my friends who are into that space. They play a lot of Apex. They play a lot of like Call of Duty Warzone. They are excited because of the developer's gunplay history.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I don't know if it's DOA. It's DOA for most gamers, but those that are like looking for...
Well, it's DOA because it's out in beta and no one's playing it. I mean, it came out and no one showed up for it, and people who played it abandoned it very, very quickly. So
this is one of those, I would say, one of those marketing issues where they should have been more prominent with the streamers and the content creators that are doing this type of content already and promoting it through them. I don't think they had a big campaign towards like visibility. I think all
that you played it. You played Marathon.
I watched 3 of my friends do squads on it, and I was enjoying it myself. I thought about getting it, but
so why do you think then the people who have played it and were playing it in the beta have abandoned it and said this is not good? If that's the case,
well, I think the market that would be playing the game if it came out with better vision, better like optics, would be playing it still. I think a lot of the game reviewers that do these like videos, like these gaming YouTube channels, just are not in that space enough to give it the appreciation it probably should have.
I don't know. I agree with Ravnos instead on that. He says the alpha went from small to tiny because the people who were invited did not enjoy playing it.
Yeah, they should have invited more people.
Okay, I don't agree. I think you're simply wrong. I think most people's takeaway was this is not worth playing. It may ultimately be. And this is, by the way, that and this story I'm about to tell you guys, which was reported, I think it was today in Bloomberg by little Jason Schreier, about Dragon Age, the Veilguard, which I did enjoy, although I eventually had to put it down because even for me, it got too annoying. But I liked a lot about it. And there's this whole story. It's about EA waffling on wanting a service game or a single player, then a service, then back to single. And they looked at Forspoken, and suddenly the script that was really snarky and shit for Dragon Age Veilguard, they pulled it back and said, oh, no, people don't like that. Let's make it more serious. And it was just a constant revolving door of messages from on high that even if the team was the perfect team for you, it would have been hard to succeed. But here's one of the reasons why when people ask me, Jaffe, I want to go into games or make games, why I say, I want you to really listen to these into paragraphs of this article on Bloomberg. And if you are out there considering working in AAA video games, please just don't, unless you're only there for the tech and you're only there to be like, but if you're a creative, not a tech guy or not somebody who wants to flex your artistic muscles and work on the latest and greatest, but if you are a creative that wants to express yourself and your team through this medium, I dealt with this at a small scope. Imagine it at this scope. What ended up happening was they brought in a bunch of Mass Effect people to take control of the project. The Mass Effect guys and the Dragon Age guys never got along. They had very different sort of philosophies of production, right? This is the kind of politics I'm talking about, that so much of your time is dealing with this. Here's the paragraph. As the Mass Effect directors took control, they scoffed that the Dragon Age squad had been doing a shoddy job and began excluding the leaders from their pivotal meetings, according to people familiar. Over time, the Mass Effect team went on to overhaul parts of the game and design a number of additional scenes, including a rich emotional finale that players loved. But even changes that appeared to improve the game stoked the simmering rancor inside BioWare, infuriating Dragon Age leaders who had been told that they didn't have the budget for such big, ambitious swings. Here's the quote. It always seemed that when Mass Effect team made its demands in meetings with EA regarding resources it needed, it got its way, says a former lead writer on Dragon Age who left before the new game. But Dragon Age always had to fight against headwinds. That is the story. That is your life. And you are not just fighting to will a creative product into an existence with just the struggle of creativity in a vacuum. But you're doing it with all this fucking corporate politics and shit. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. There's no way I could have made it or would have wanted to make it in this particular version of what the video game industry is today. So I would say to you, go indie, baby. Go fucking indie for a million reasons. Okay. Listen to this. Let's talk briefly. Actually, I'm going to take a quick 5-second breather, and then we're going to talk about Pragmata. Corporate game designer says it takes a special breed to play in my world. Yeah, I don't know where you work, and I don't know or kind of what you do, but I can tell you that I hated that at the small scale. The idea of it now? God, no. I still wonder, says Awesome, how Dragon Age would have done if it wasn't for the grifters attacking it. It would have done better. It was a good game, in my opinion, but it got, even for me, I love the traversal. The level design was cool. The art design, the sound design was amazing in that game. Even though it was repetitive, I loved the combat in the game. Some of the characters were wonderful, but it got to the point where it was just so cringy and goofy and stupidly written. And I don't mean the barv and all that stuff. I don't mean any of that. I just mean it was written like a fucking 10-year-old comic book. Like, what do you think we should do, Rook? I don't know. I trust you guys. Rook, you sure are the best. It was like one of these like Pirates of Penzance fucking old Broadway shows where everyone was like over emoting and shouting so the people at the back of the theater could hear them. It was very strange. It's very strange. Dragon Age would have done better if the game hadn't been changed in the first place. Well, yeah, Morgan, they agree with that, but they couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, the power of friendship. Yeah, bullshit. I wouldn't say you're wrong in your hot takes, just that there are those of us built for this type of life, navigating creative and corporate. I suppose so, but again, how many people need to be built for that living in BioWare in order to fix it? Because ultimately, that team, I assume, had at least a few people that were built for navigating creative and corporate, but it certainly wasn't enough to pull this out of the tailspin that they got into very, very early. Mining the Stars is correct. I mean, look what a small team like Sandfall can do nowadays. Clair Obscura is great. Yeah, I mean, there is that point. It's becoming easier to make games that most people can't tell the difference between A and AAA or AA and AAA. And so smaller is better if you want something that's a real, personal project for sure. Okay. What did you guys think about Pragmata? Finally, there were some hands-on. This is one of those things where I'm really interested in it because of it being such a unique experience.
How do you spell that game?
Pragmata. But I honestly could not tell you if I'm going to enjoy playing it for more than 5 minutes. But the previews have been, people have said, who've gone hands-on with it, have said, it's very unique, it's very interesting, and it does kind of work. But whether it works spread out over 20 hours is TBD. So if you don't know, what this is now, it's you play this dude, and he has this robot chick on his back, and they have to escape this moon base and get back to Earth. And the way it works is the security of the moon base, these robots are almost indestructible with his weapons. But when she works with him and hacks their systems, his weapons will now do damage. Awesome says, it looks cool. I hesitate because I hate escort games. This is not an escort game. I think it's one character. I know there are two characters, but at least most of it, they're attached to each other, I believe. I'm sure there might be some little, missions for variety where they split up. I don't think the girl makes the game uninteresting. I think that's what makes it. I mean, again, it may be a better game if it were just Dead Space, but obviously they wanted to try something different. So what this is, though, is his weapons do no damage. So when she reaches out and starts to hack them, which you can kind of see here, the time slows down a little bit, so you have time to do this, right? So you are, at that point, you're playing a hacking mini game on part of the screen. And let me show you, they barely show it. If you blink, you literally miss it. Let's see. So she's doing the hacking mini game. Come on. There it is, right there. Let me try to freeze frame it. Come on. I mean, it's crazy. I have to do it this carefully because that's how little they want you to see it. Hang on, here it comes. That's not it. It's right after he comes up here, I think. Yeah. Okay. God damn it. It was right there. Okay. This right here, right? So time slows down and you're having to it's one of those little puzzle things where you're having to maneuver a little grid thing from A to B. And if you do it through certain colors that are harder, the damage your guns will do when the thing does get hacked or more. So it becomes this kind of risk reward of do I just want to do the simple hack, which will make the enemies harder to kill, but I'll be able to sort of wail on them faster or get to wailing on them faster? Or do I want to risk the fact that I can solve this particular hacking mini game? And if I do, I can kill this guy with one shot. So I think that's really neat. And I think it's neat that the game doesn't pause, but it's all happening at once. And so they said it's you really have to take into account positioning, because it's have I engaged with this person when he's far enough away that I can do the hacking game that I think I'm going to need to do to kill him? Because when I've gotten close to him and only solved the simple hacking game, I can't beat him on my own, right? So it's almost like an RPG kind of thing where you're taking that decision of, can I fight the boss with my own ability to read and recognize and maneuver his patterns, or do I go grind up and give myself an advantage? It's almost taking that and squeezing that thought process down on an encounter by encounter basis. And I think that's really clever. And I think that's really, really neat. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something I want to play, or I'm just going to stand back and appreciate it. But it's still cool. I mean, and I will be keeping an eye on it, because how often does anybody come up with a different mechanic like that, let alone at a AAA level? I don't know why you guys find the little girl annoying. She's cool. She's a little kid robot, like the little kid in AI, but she's, has superpowers and I don't fucking know. Okay, this looks like the kind of Capcom from the PS2 days, says Eric. This is cool. Yeah, your character is generic astronaut guy. Okay. I mean, okay. You're not wrong necessarily, but is that why you're... Wow. PDF bait on his back. Buddy, I never assumed it was PDF bait. If your first response when you see a child is that's PDF bait, that may be a you problem, my delightful friend. I love you, but what? It's just a kid. What the fuck? What? That's weird, man. Is it $80? I have no idea. But I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes. All right, Alex wants me to update the stuff. I will, absolutely. Alex, thank you for that. Good point, good reminder. We are now at 2 out of 40 members. Come on, babies. I think I can. We can do it. You can do it. And then super chats. We got a super chat a minute ago. We are at Corporate Game Designer. Thank you so much for the 5. I will pop that up. So some days you're on fire, and other days not so much. But we love being here with you guys, and we love chatting with you guys about the video games. So thanks for being here regardless. You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, and you're here with us, and we appreciate it. And yes, I owe Jay-Z a penny for saying that. Okay, here we go. The first thing I thought about when seeing the game was Gollum in a blue jacket. Yeah, well, it's kind of what it looks like. All right. There's Pragmata. We talked about that. I want to just play this clip. Oh yeah, Sergeant Frosty, day one purchase on Ragebound. You goddamn right. Isn't that a great demo? Morgan, did you get around to playing the demo yet? The Ragebound demo? It's excellent. Oh, now Ravnos is trying to justify it. Notice how this Japanese game has a little blonde white girl kid. PDF bait. She's a lolly. What? She's just a kid, man. She's a little kid. Let her be a little kid robot. Let her be a goddamn little kid robot. I want to play this clip of Phil Harrison. That's not Phil Harrison. This guy has hair. Phil Spencer talking about Clockwork Revolution, and then he also talks a little bit about Keeper. I don't know. It might be too long. It's 4 minutes. Do you guys want to play this and talk about it or no? Because otherwise,
watch it.
You want to watch it? Otherwise,
yeah.
All right. Because it is cool to hear. I think the reason I like this,
about 65 hours.
That I like this is because it does speak to, and you guys know, I have been very hard on Microsoft on Xbox. They have deserved that scrutiny. They have deserved my ire because they were dropping the ball for a very long time. And I was always saying, fire the fuck out of Matt Booty and maybe even Phil Spencer because they don't know what they're doing. Well, whatever has happened has been good because these guys have done a great job in putting out a lot of great games. And I don't know if the 2 games Phil Spencer is going to talk about right here are going to be good, bad, or otherwise, but it does remind us and it does shine a light on, given Sony's current problems, with putting out a lot more IP and fresh IP and often, new big AAA games, old IP or not, it's nice to see Microsoft being able to pull it off to some extent. So listen to this. I thought this was a pretty good, little section of this interview with Spencer. Here we go.
Really great.
Looking forward to that. So I want to talk about In Exile next. I was a big fan of Wasteland 3, put dozens of hours into it. There's so much flexibility in different ways, like you could change the outcome of the game with their decision making. We knew that they're a strong team when it comes to writing. Then you see Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah,
and
so good.
I was reminded of the meme, like, I owe you an apology. I was not familiar with your game. Like, did you know In Exile could do...
And again, In Exile did the wonderful Wasteland 3, which is just a delightful fucking RPG. So good and non-linear.
Do this?
Yeah, it's one of those things when you talk to Brian Fargo and the team, you knew that they were the ones that were going to set the bar very high for themselves. They had an aspiration that they wanted to hit creatively as a studio from our earliest discussions about them becoming part of Xbox. But it's hard being a small independent studio out there and looking for your next game while you're finishing your previous game and trying to just make sure.
Again, that's
that
another
you've got the
reason. Just
wherewithal
like,
to continue
gross.
going. And I see them now with Clockwork, which I thought was just an amazing game in our show. Like the first time we started looking at that asset and just kind of watching the video come together and the gameplay and the team, that is a team that sets an incredibly high bar for themselves. And I say it's kind of a privilege to get to work with them and the level of expertise they have. And we were able to partner with them to give them some tech support, time, resources. And I think what you see now is just like the ultimate manifestation of an In Exile game, a kind of a hard, gritty world, RPG mechanics, storytelling. I think the thing we all probably get a little blown away by is just the level of graphic fidelity, right, that they're showing right now. And the game looks amazing.
And also a very memorable trailer. I think the meta game for us was like sort of scrolling the social feeds and watching people go, okay, this is now moved to the top of my radar.
Yeah, we knew that. Like when we were looking at this, because you know this, we start crafting the show back in like December, January, start looking at what might be in the show. And when we first started to get some like sight into what In Exile was building, I knew it would be one of the real standouts in the show, and it was a privilege. And we gave it a lot of time too in the show. Like it was one of those things we wanted to make sure people saw gameplay, they saw dialogue, they saw the ability to build and craft weapons and the different choices and skins that people had there, and then you wanted the story to pop through and the writing. So I'm glad that we gave it the time it had, and it's the response from the community has been fantastic.
Awesome.
So real quick on that, some of the comments. Clockwork looks pretty good, says Tatum, but I also hope it isn't another Atomfall. A great game visually, interesting ideas, doesn't translate well with gameplay. Well, again, it is In Exile. These guys know how to make an RPG. The only, they've not made, as far as I recall, an RPG like this. Their stuff has been isometric and, simpler in production scope, but that said, though, I think they are a pro enough group that they're not going to have the Atomfall problem. And I liked Atomfall, but I agree with you. It kind of is amazing as a lot of the ideas were. It still felt like a B game. The stress is getting to Phil. No, I don't think he's sick. He's got Ozempic face. He's clearly been on the Ozempic. Stone Patrol says, why would they not make, not him. Where did it go? Yeah. Stone Patrol says Sony needs to actually remaster the awesome classics, not remastering Last of Us 2 years after, because they have nothing else. Why not Legend of Dragoon? Well, again, because if you factor out nostalgia, you're left with, does this game hold up? And if it doesn't hold up because it's so old and it held up when it came out in 94, what kind of investment do we have to make? You're basically making a brand new game. And at that point, is it the right economic mentality to go, yeah, let's greenlight something that has a very small aging fan base, or let's do something that's in a world that we know works for modern gamers, or marketing feels will be more successful than something like a sort of traditional Japanese RPG. So that would be my answer as to why you're not seeing those. However, again, to Microsoft's credit, look at this next game. I thought this was great.
Another team that kind of keeps us guessing all the time.
94.
Double Fine.
Hang on. Legend of Dragoon, Lando, I think it was 94. That's an Ice Cube taboo face? I don't think so. I think he's an Ozempic. There you go, Wings. Why are you always taking your comments away? Yeah, Lando, isn't that when Legend came out? 95 was PlayStation, so 96, I imagine, is when Dragoon came out, is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay.
From one game to the next, we were talking earlier, like, the team that...
Wait a minute. Somebody, tech, look that up when Legend came out, because Legend of Dragoon was a PS1 title, not a PS5 title. I think.
Legend of Dragoon release date was 2012.
2012?
Oh, sorry. This is no, the original was 99.
Okay, 99. Okay.
December of 99 in Japan. In North America, it was a 2000 year 2000 market game.
Okay, so yeah, we were both off, but it's in that realm. Okay, here we go. This is
a remake. I think there was one that came out in 2012.
There may have been. I don't know.
Yeah.
Made Stacking that also made Massive Chalice.
I don't know what this is, but I thought this looked great.
Original, and it feels like Keeper is going to be another one of those in the pantheon from Double Fine.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. It was one of those when we were putting the kind of flow, I wanted to make sure I got to talk about the game as we came out of the reveal for Keeper. I've known Tim since original Xbox, and big fan of Psychonauts. In fact, when I went and I was watching that game kind of come into focus for the show, I went back, reignited my Double Fine love, and I went back and played The Cave. I went back and played Iron Brigade. Like, it was just reminding me of some of the great things that team, very diverse team when you think about the different mechanics and stories that they've told. And that one just had such I thought, like a soulful play to it as you watched, and I can't wait for people to get to play. It's really great. We get to do new IP, which also showed up very well in the show when you think about Clockwork and Keeper, and enable teams to go and create new.
Another game we don't have to wait too long before we...
I'm excited, man. But again, I've also learned my lesson, specifically with Microsoft and Xbox. Every year they have they're really good these days at going on stage and talking about their shit. But I got really burned on Redfall. Not like I cared. It's not like my life was over, but I was sold. I read the previews. I watched them on stage. I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. And then it was kind of what it was. Stone says, I was at the Xbox Fan Fest community watch party on Sunday. What was the general consensus? Were people excited, Stone Patrol? There's no spoken words in the entire game of this Lighthouse game, Keeper. Cool. But hopefully it's a good game. I love Double Fine's narratives, but they don't always make great games. But when they do, they're fucking delightful. Okay, so here, let me check something really quickly, you guys. I definitely want to tell you guys about that. I was going to get Jarvie Rocks sent me a lot of good content on the asset flipping conversation, but I don't think we're going to have time to get to that tonight. So we will move that. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to cover two more quick stories, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm still probably going to go, because I don't think we're going to make our goals tonight, Tech. So I might go play a bunch of NextFest demos, and maybe I'll just stream them to members only on YouTube. So if you've considered a membership and you want to watch and maybe even play with us, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I probably sometime in about the next 30 minutes after the show will be over here on YouTube streaming a members only show for people who want to watch a bunch of NextFest demos. But before we get to that, I just thought this was pretty interesting as it relates to... Here we go. So I have been playing a lot of these NextFest games so far. And I am playing, and one of the things that's really interesting is, and I noticed this obviously with Dreams on PlayStation, which is when these guys got to the point where it was a lot easier to make games, most people just made the same shit. And it's really hard to make good stuff and compelling stuff. And so what I do notice is it's getting easier to make games and put them on Steam for one man, small man teams. You're left with strong conceptual hooks, and they look good, but I don't want to play them for more than 10 minutes, right? So like this is a game, Ferocious, that is on Steam Next Fest right now. And I'm like, oh my God, it's first person dinosaur shooting. And I like that concept, but after, 20, 30 minutes, I was kind of done with it and I moved on. And I'm noticing that a lot more this Next Fest, that there are some gems which are great, but there's also a lot of games that are like, okay, this guy clearly liked Dino Crisis, or this guy clearly liked, another one I played was I forget the title of it, but it was like a Duke Nukem game. And it was great. It was better than Duke Nukem in that everything was interactive. It had a lot of personality. And you could tell this guy was like, okay, I came up with Duke Nukem. I want something like that. And lo and behold, the tools are easy enough to get your head around now that he made that. And I played it for 20, 30 minutes and I was like, okay, I'm good. I know what this is, right? And so it's kind of interesting in that as it gets easier to make games, you're seeing more people putting things out there that makes it also clear that it's really hard to make something people want to play beyond the stuff that's made by the pros. So I'm very interested in seeing where that goes. I was going to say, let's watch, but it's a little long. We can look at it tomorrow maybe, but IGN just put out a 9-minute hands-on impressions of Ninja Gaiden 4. But we'll push that to the next Gavin and Games, perhaps. But if you're interested, that is up now if you want. Okay, so let's say, have I played the Ball Pit demo? No, I have it downloaded. I'll show you what I've got downloaded on Steam Next Fest that if I do stream tonight, I probably will be playing. And there's a lot I've downloaded that I haven't played yet, but Pirates Outlaws 2 Heritage demo, which I've never played the first one, but I read about it on Game Informer, and it's kind of a pirate card battler. Cast and Chill demo is just apparently a real chill game. Davy Times Jones is a supposedly fun shooter. Consume Me, I read about, was supposed to be great. Ball Pit demo is supposed to be great. I played Pigface today. Horrible. I should delete it. In fact, I'll do it right now. Uninstall. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but again, it's one of those games where it's like, here's Ferocious. I played this for 30 minutes and it's going away. Let's see. Cleared Hot, Cleared Hot is very interesting. Cleared Hot is is basically a strike game, but it's a strike game with more mechanics, and it's a strike game with actually a pretty interesting story. I won't spoil much, but this is happening at the very beginning. So at the very beginning, you are a military pilot, and it's like, oh, okay, I know what this is. It's a strike game. And then shit goes wrong in the first mission, and the game jump cuts 30 years into the future where you're this guy flying helicopters around on this guy's farm because it's the only job you can get, and you're just trying to put a roof over your head by collecting chickens and helping him move parts of the barn. And apparently it moves into him getting into the hot zone again, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of fucking cool. So I'm gonna spend more time with that one. Neon Abyss 2 I played the first one. I loved it. This is the sequel, obviously. Jump Ship Tech, if you can download this, because this is the PvE version of basically Wildgate or whatever. Meganaut is like a PS1 sort of survival horror, zero gravity, outer space thing, which I want to play. Man, Steam Next Fest is great. This is just like a crazy psychedelic shooter that I want to try. I want to finish Tormented Souls. No, I'm Not a Human. Superhero Simulator. I'm going to delete Backseat Driver. It was amusing, but I'm good.
It was awful.
Leaf Blower was great. I want to try Wildgate again. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. The 2D Ninja Gaiden is excellent. Assassin's Arena we have to try. And then, yeah, I did download. Somebody was talking about Hell Is Us. I have that downloaded. I downloaded this Waifu Tactical Force playtest. It's a waifu first-person shooter that I want to try.
Is this the 2D one?
No. This is a real bona fide.
Have you seen the 2D one?
Oh, wait. What is this? Is it this? I thought it was a shooter. Oh, it's both. Tactical FPS plus life sim. What the fuck
That's
is
fine.
this? Yeah, I'm playing this fucking thing. I don't know
What is it called?
WTF.
Yeah.
Dead is Disco, I hear is great. I'm going to play that. Camper Van, Make It Home. This looks like the next unpacking. Mina the Howler, I haven't played yet, that I definitely want to play. And then, of course, Hell Is Us demo. So there is a lot to play. And Tech, what do you think? Should we stream it on YouTube to everyone, but make it members only chat? Should it be something only members can get into? Are you going to play tonight, Tech, or no? You got stuff to do.
I'm down to play with you as long as you'd like. I say we do a member stream.
Okay,
if
just
you're down. I'm down to do a long member stream of gameplay. People come in, they can throw some donations. It'd be nice. Help Tech Protect with his moving fund. That'd be great. Jaffe's paying for it, and it comes out of his pocket. But I would like some help with that. That'd be cool.
okay,
So it's just
but you're
been-
saying stream it to YouTube, members only chat, or members only can watch it. Nobody can watch it if
Members
they're
only
not. Okay, but anybody can watch it then.
Yeah.
All right, so we will be over in YouTube. That is Gabbin' and Games for tonight. We will be over on YouTube here on this channel, and I'm going to take the dog out, get a drink, about 20, 30 minutes tops, and we'll be playing games if there's multiplayer games. I know what we will be playing is that's multiplayer. If we need 2 more people to fill out the jump ship demo, if you want to play, what was it called? Assassin Arena. That's something you were telling me to get, Tech. I haven't played it.
Let me see. I have it here. It's I'm downloading Jump Ship. It's almost done. It's called Assassin's Arena. It's kind of like Among Us, where but the concept is there's NPCs on the map going around doing stuff, and you either play as an NPC pretending person going about doing missions, and the cops are trying to find you and kill the people that are sabotaging the map, setting explosives, forging documents. So you have to kind of pretend not to be a person.
A human. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. All right, you guys, be well. Haven't tried Power Stone Online yet. No. My take on cloud gaming, it will absolutely be the standard. Yes. When? I don't know.
Alex makes a mention, says, Jaffe play Wildgate. It's amazing. So Wildgate was developed. Just remind me again. You said this already. Who's the person that's helping develop the game?
Shannon is one of the producers, and it was also developed by Rob Pardo of ex-Blizzard fame and his new company. And we played it the other night, and
who is Shannon? Can you give
she
brief description?
produced God of War, all the God of Wars. She ran Sony Santa Monica. Big God of War. And one of my favorite people. I adore her. She's delightful.
I gave the game some additional playtime yesterday, overnight. I played 6 games, and these are long games to play, but I played 6 games of it. Unfortunately, because of the demo, I was going in as a solo player, getting 3 randoms. 3 of my games, my team just left. They weren't successful enough, so they just left the game as a group.
Yeah.
So it was like me 1v4ing 3 other teams.
Well,
you have to play with like a gang if you want to.
I am going to play it. I want to play it at least one more time tonight, so we should give it a play.
I'm so down. Tub,
right.
thank you for joining.
Tub, welcome. Thank you for being part of the Died Set of Soldiers. We appreciate that. We'll be over there in 30 minutes. In the meantime, thank you, Tub. Thank you to all the support tonight, both the chat and the Ducats and just the community. Appreciate it. Thank you, Stone Patrol. Appreciate that as well. And we'll be back tomorrow morning, 9:30 to 10 for Up with Jaffe. And then we will be back, me, Tech, and Bunny tomorrow night at 6:30 for a new episode of Madhouse. Okay, there you go. Be well. Bye, you guys.
Some sort of the game